It's Deep Dive Golf here. You can call me David from the Wyndham Sports PGA Drivecast with a special live stream tonight to talk the Wyndham Championship because I thought I'd jump on, just give you a bit of a round one recap, see what's happened in the first round. Well, news break, there was no golf. There was no golf to the surprise of absolutely frickin' no one except for the PGA Tour, who, it just baffles me, managed to stuff this sort of thing up just constantly. I mean, let's face it, we all knew there was a hurricane coming and it was going to hit Greensboro, South Carolina. We knew that. We knew that was going to happen. And anyone who could read a weather forecast knew that Thursday was going to be absolutely dreadful. There was flash flooding, 4 to 6 inches of rain. And what did the PGA Tour do? They just kept steamrolling ahead like nothing was happening. And then suddenly we get a tweet. Okay, play's delayed until 3 p.m. on Thursday. Well, news break, there was never going to be play at 3 p.m. on Thursday either. Play was called for the day eventually, finally. But, I mean, for me, it baffles me. I don't know how we can get to a situation where the PGA Tour can't check the weather forecast and go, do you know what? It's not going to be possible to play golf today. It's unsafe. It's unsafe for fans, so it's unsafe for the players, right? There's tornado warnings. There's flash flooding. Let's call it. Let's give everybody some certainty. We'll start playing on Friday. Not a hard decision in my mind. In fact, I mean, I looked at the weather forecast Saturday and Sunday last week, and immediately said, well, they're not going to be playing golf on Thursday. Maybe there's a possibility they could move the round forward, play a round on Wednesday. Let's get some golf in because this is the last event before the FedEx Cup playoffs begin next week. There's a lot on the line for a lot of these players, right? You finish in the top 70, you keep the music playing, you get to play in the first event of the FedEx Cup playoffs at St. Jude, and then you get into the top 50 and you've locked yourself into $20 million tournaments for all of 2025. There's a lot on the line for these players, and I can understand the argument. I can understand people saying, hey, play better. That's always the answer. Play better golf earlier. I get that, but golfers do make their scheduling decisions differently towards the end of the season when they know where they are in the FedEx Cup playoff rankings. There's a lot on the line for these guys, and it would be a real shame if we weren't able to get, for example, a full tournament in, or if it was reduced to even, say, 36 holes, not just 54 holes. So that's going to be really interesting. I'm planning to just kind of chat through what I'm seeing so far. I will do some Q&A at the end as well, so feel free to jump into the chat down below and pop any questions that you have. Happy to answer any of them that you do, and we can go from there. So where are we at now? No play round one. Thursday was completely called off. So if only someone had seen that coming. Oh wait, hold on. If you were over at Win Daily Sports reading my weekly article, one, I said that the PGA Tour was going to be slow on acting on this, which prediction true. I don't know why that they can't make these calls earlier. It was abundantly clear Hurricane Debby was going to be a problem. I mean, look at this thing. Look at it. It's freaking huge. 4 to 6 inches of rain. They were never playing golf. Anyway, so here are my bold predictions. I said there will be no play on Thursday afternoon. Further, I would not be surprised if there's no play on Thursday at all. Friday morning could also be delayed. There's still heavy rain, and they're going to have to clean up the debris and deal with down trees. There's going to be a lot of standing water on the golf course, I can imagine. It is going to take an effort to get this golf course into a playable condition for these golfers to go out and compete. So is it going to be a 72-hole tournament? I wasn't too sure at the time. Maybe 54. Certainly, I figured it was going to be a Monday finish. So there you go. I told you ahead of time. Now, for those who don't know, I'm in New Zealand. You can see, or maybe you can't see, right here. Little Kiwi. Shout out to Lydia Ko, by the way. Lydia Ko in the women's golf and the Olympics. Amazing second round there to put herself into contention. She already has a silver and bronze medal in the 2016 Rio and 2020 Tokyo Olympics. So if she gets a gold, she'll complete the full set of medals, which for me will be one of the greatest golfing achievements of the modern era. She's also 1 point away from making the LPGA Hall of Fame. So gold medal will secure that. So shout out Lydia Ko for an amazing day of the only golf that we got to see today. So let's look at the forecast. Where are we at? Has anything changed? This is windy.com. Now, I highly recommend using Windy. I highly recommend getting a premium membership. The reason why, if you're using Weather Underground, any of these other free weather websites, what they're using is something called GFS. This. Now, what is GFS? It's a free basic weather model. It's completely free. The resolution is how many kilometers of accuracy is the weather going to be accurate down to, is extremely poor. And it's, you know, it's a free model. It's going to give you an idea. Not the sort of thing that we want to be doing, especially when we're handicapping golf. We're trying to provide the most accurate golf tips and DFS advice to you that we can possibly can. Go out and buy a premium membership. Windy.com is great. And it gives you access to all these other more premium weather models, which are a lot more accurate and give you much higher resolution. So you can see here, HRRR, Hararara as Degenerate 75 shout out. Hope you're doing well, mate. If you do get to see this, we're all thinking of you all the time. Resolution down to just 2 kilometers. So zoomed in here on Sedgefield, and was Friday offer. Still heavy rain overnight expected, still heavy winds in the morning. As I said, there is going to be a lot of cleanup in place for Sedgefield Country Club. They're going to have to clean up this golf course and get it to a playable condition. They've said there'll be no play before 8:30 a.m. Again, that is just the PGA Tour being stupidly optimistic about what this is going to be like, because they're still expecting more rain. They were expecting even heavier rain than this, so it does look like it's moving on, which, you know, is a good thing. It's going to mean we're going to get some golf earlier, but I don't really see them starting play until what, like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. in the morning. Now, if you look at this weather forecast here for the day, you've still got high winds in the morning. You've got gusts sort of in that 18 to 25 mile per hour range. You know, that's significant enough to be having an effect. And then in the afternoon, it's going to start to wind down. It's going to get a lot calmer. Then the real kicker is that Saturday looks like gin clear, perfect blue sky, pearl of a day. I use Celsius because I believe in science. And so that's the temperature in Celsius for you, 23, 24 degrees. I have no idea what that is in Fahrenheit, like 70, 75, I guess, for you imperial people out there. But metrically speaking, it's going to be about 23, 24 degrees and sunny for you all. So what's going to happen here, in my opinion, and this is going to be my take all week, is that the guys who are Thursday PM, or should probably say formally Thursday PM, are going to get the best of this. Because the guys who go out Thursday AM are going to go out now on Friday morning, going to go out in these heavier winds. Those guys in Thursday afternoon are going to get calmer winds in the afternoon here. They might not even finish their round, and then they get even better conditions Saturday morning. And then they're going to go straight out and play even more on Saturday in these good conditions. So they're the guys who are going to get the best of it for me, is Thursday afternoon tee times. Now with them, they've got that added benefit as well of, I mean, if you look at like even the, look at this. Look at the amount of rain that there was overnight. I can't believe they even tried to think of playing golf in that weather. So for those golfers, right, they're going to get a bit of an advantage. Now, we've been speaking in the Win Daily Sports Discord, which, by the way, only costs you at the moment with my discount code in the description below, $7.50 per week. Now, if you've been following my golf betting tips for the last 5 to 6 weeks, we're at a ROI of 120% the last 5 weeks. We've consistently delivered over 20% ROI for the last 3 years. If you had just used $10 per unit, $10 per unit since 2022, followed all of my plays as I put them out, you would have made $17,000 of profit as it currently stands today. $17,000. So $7.50 a month. Jump in the description. You can chat to me. I'll answer questions for you. We do one-on-one coaching sessions, answer any questions, lineup questions, things like that. It's a really, really great tool. And that doesn't give you just golf. That gives you all sports, by the way. So it's the best deal, best value in all golf. It's in the description below if you want that. But we were chatting in the Win Daily Sports Discord. Great family in there. I really appreciate everyone in there. It's an awesome community. Then we might see a microwave of tee times develop. And that's going to be these guys that we think Thursday afternoon are going out latest in this kind of pocket here with low winds. And then they get to go out again Saturday morning in better conditions as well. They could get like the absolute best of it. Now we see this like sometime in the Open Championship. The Open Championship sometimes gets these like weird kind of micro tee times. Royal Troon, not this recent one, but the last time that they played at Royal Troon, there was like this like hour and a half of golf of tee times where they just got the absolute nuts conditions for the entire tournament. They got the best of it Thursday, got the best of it Friday, and like all of the top 10, like 8 of them were within this 1 hour and a half kind of tee time window. And there's a possibility that could happen now. You know, that is where we're kind of at because of the way that this is playing out, the way that PGA Tour has handled this, which I don't love. So that's the way it could be. So who are these guys? So shout out to Underdog for always making a really beautiful, nice, easy to read tee time list here. These are the guys who are going off formerly Thursday PM, Friday AM, now going to be Friday PM, Saturday AM, or late Friday PM, Saturday AM, Saturday afternoon. Who knows at this point? It could be these guys here, right? These guys from say 1 o'clock to 2:30. These could be the names that get the absolute best of this. So look, at Wyndham Sports, we saw this happening. You know, we knew that this was a possibility. Well, 5 of our 6 golf betting tips this week came from these tee times. Like, shock horror. Like, golf is played outdoors. And if you're not checking the weather, like, I'm sorry, but like golf is the one sport that is most affected by weather of any sport in the entire world. Like, you see the effect that wind and rain has on these golfers. The other thing that's going to happen is you are going to have lift clean in place for at least 2 rounds, if not for the entirety of the tournament. What does that mean? Well, Sedgefield's already one of the most correlated golf courses for driving accuracy to success of any golf course on the PGA Tour. That's already a fact. And so now with lift clean in place, what does that mean? Well, if you find the fairway, you get to pick up the ball, get to give it a clean, take any mud off, give yourself the perfect lie, and then hit a wedge into these like greens that are going to be playing soft as hell because of all the rain that's happened. So driving accuracy and wedge play is going to be even more key than it has been. Spin control as well with your wedges, very, very key. So that's going to be the guys to target. That's going to be who you need to go out and find. We did that with our golf betting tips. You know, guys like Brian Harmon right here. Brian Harmon, we got on him at 33 to 1. You'll be lucky to find 25s now. And so that's where we build in that value. Green regulation percentage is very, very important at Sedgefield, but driving accuracy is by far the most. If you are finding the fairway at Sedgefield, 80% of the time, you are then going to find a green in regulation. That drops to just 55% if you're playing in the rough. So it's a huge demarcation between being in the fairway and being in the rough in that regard. So these could be the guys who get the absolute nuts conditions. We have CT Pan within our tips. We tipped him up at 90 to 1. Obviously had another great Olympics. Has great form at correlated courses as well. Guys like Mark Hubbard. Seamus Power I've really warmed on. Seamus Power is one name that I've been coming around to, and I've been like, okay, like not the greatest of seasons for Seamus Power, but let's look at his profile over here on DataGolf. I've got some of the comp courses that are really key here. So really gaining on approach a ton. We've seen his putters start to warm up as well. He's both accurate and long off the tee, which I really like. TPC Deer Run is a really good comp course. Lucas Glover has won at both Sedgefield. He's defending champion this week, and at the John Deere Classic. He's played well there before. A number of other names have also done the double at those 2 golf courses. So TPC River Highlands is also very, very correlated. A good couple of results there on similar kind of courses. And then you look at his other comp course results. Sedgefield, obviously, past history isn't fabulous, but he hasn't missed a cut in his last 3 times. But then you look at like TPC Sawgrass, he's got a 33rd, 35th, very, very correlated. Harbour Town, a number of golfers have done the double at both there. Davis Love the third comes to mind. Webb Simpson, I believe, has done both. There are a number of players who have won at Harbour Town and won at Sedgefield as well. So he's a name that I've warmed on out of those tee times. So that's where we're at. Where do we think we go with this? Is it going to be 54 holes? I don't think so. I mean, look, the PGA Tour put out this statement, which I thought was interesting. They said, we just need time. The golf course just has to drain. Once that happens, a small staff and 60 volunteers will get out there. We'll have a Herculean feat to get the place cleaned up after rains and winds and flooding. Well, PGA Tour, if you're saying that, then why are you saying that there won't be golf before 8:30 a.m. in the morning? Like, you won't be playing golf at 8:30 in the morning. Like, anyway. Hopefully sometime tomorrow morning we can get round 1 going. And with that, there'll still be time to hopefully wrap things up, get things finished Sunday evening. Personally, I doubt that. We've seen how hard it is for the PGA Tour to finish a golf tournament when there's 156 players in the field, like when there's like good conditions. Like, and these are not good conditions, right? So I don't think it'll be Sunday. I think it is going to go into Monday. Probably not by 6 p.m. Forecast for Saturday and Sunday are pretty good, which is true. If need be, this was the kicker for me. If need be, we will always go into Monday to get 72 holes in. Now, my concern with this was that, and we've seen this from the PGA Tour before, when there is a really big event the week after, and in this case, we've got the FedEx Cup playoffs starting next week, they do have a tendency not to want to go in and encroach on like the Monday, certainly not the Tuesday. They're not going to be playing on Tuesday. Like they can, but they won't. And encroach on another big tournament coming up. And that was my fear for especially some of these guys on the bubble of the top 70, you know, like guys like Victor Pérez, who was amazing at the Olympics, and those French crowds were amazing. Like if that doesn't get you inspired, I don't know what will. You know, sitting at 71st on the FedEx Cup playoff list, he needs this tournament. Like he needs to perform well, and he needs holes basically to play his way into next week. So look, it was promising to see this. It gives me some confidence that it won't be a 54-hole tournament. Like if we look at it Friday, maybe they can get like the majority, like 70% of the field through for their full rounds, and then Saturday finish the round, have a cut, then on Sunday play at least like 27, and then finish up on Monday with maybe 9 holes, maybe 18 holes. I think that's probably the way that it's going to go. So anyway, I'll jump into the chat here. I'll bring up those tee times because I think that's really going to be key. I'll jump in here and answer some of the questions. Team audience will thrive in this carnage. Yeah, good luck, Zach. I hope you do well. I just hope it's all safe and having some good golf. Yep, safety is definitely first. I mean, like I probably should have started with that. Like safety is absolutely first, but my frustration more comes with the fact that we knew that this was going to be unsafe. Like anyone who can read a basic weather forecast knew that this was not going to be safe conditions for golf on Thursday. So why are we even trying to allude to the fact that we might play professional golf on Thursday? Like just either move things forward, it'll be unprecedented, but move things forward, play around on Wednesday so we can finish on Sunday, or announce, hey, it's going to be Friday finish. Golfers don't have to hang around until like 3 o'clock in the vain hope that they might get a tee time, or, you know, kind of fear that they'll get a tee time and get absolutely screwed over by the PGA Tour having to play in just dreadful conditions. Just make the call. Just say, no, look, weather's bad. We're going to start on Friday. We'll try and get it done by Sunday, but it's probably going to be a Monday finish, right? David, with the delay, do you see weather wave advantage? Yes, I do. Jonathan, I think it is going to be the former Thursday PM tee times are going to have the best of it. Now the Friday PM tee times, because they're going to get to go and play in the calmest conditions on Friday, and they're going to get to either finish that first round on Saturday and then have second round on Saturday as well. So I think they're going to be the guys who get it. Now, that's not to say that somebody can't come out the other way and win it. We've seen it at other tournaments before, right? Justin Thomas at the Southern Hills PGA Championship 2022, that comes to mind. We did take a contrarian kind of route in terms of the weather prediction this week, by the way, and it reminded me of the 2022 Players Championship. Like, remember that tournament where it was like the entire golf industry was like, oh, like Thursday AM is the play, Thursday AM is the play, because Thursday PM looks real windy, and I don't want my guys to be out in the wind. Well, we took the contrarian route. We said Thursday PM, there is a significant chance of thunderstorms. Thursday PM. They will not be playing, and they won't be playing Friday morning either. And so they're going to get the best of the conditions. Well, we were right. The rest of the industry was wrong. We got huge leverage. We cashed like Alex Noren like 250 to 1 to finish in the top 8 at that tournament, and Russell Knox as well. So some real obscure names that came in the right weather wave. And this was kind of the same, right? Everybody was like Thursday AM because Thursday PM looks really windy and really heavy rain. And we kind of went the other route and we said, no, play the Thursday PM guys, because there is no chance they will be playing golf on Thursday PM in 4 inches of rain. It's just not going to happen. And it didn't. So that's why we've got 5 out of 6 of betting picks within that time frame. As I said, these like really late guys, they could be like these. That could be like the key in those large GPP contests to take something out with like these huge leverage opportunities. Where like Sam Ryder at like 2% ownership suddenly comes out with a top 10 because he gets the best conditions in the weather, or like Mark Hubbard, who also needs to have a good week, by the way. He's right on that top 70 kind of mark. Guys like Adrian Novak in this wave, or Alex Smalley. Michael Thorbjornsson is interesting. Thorbjornsson is not who you would typically think for this golf course because of his driving accuracy. He's another name that I have warmed on. You see this driving accuracy here is freaking dreadful. But getting our approach here, second at the John Deere Classic, as I said, TPC Deere Run, very correlated to what you expect at Sedgefield. Then you look at his other comp courses, 2022, fourth at the Travelers Championship. That was his first PGA Tour event, and he finished fourth at TPC River Highlands, a very correlated golf course to what we expect this week at Sedgefield when we do eventually get to play golf. Second at the John Deere, I mentioned, he had a 17th there previous as well, 39th earlier this year in a signature event. He's interesting. Michael Thorpe-Johnson is very interesting to me. So a bit of lineup, stacking in both directions just in case. Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, that's wise. I mean, we advocated for that in the Win Daily Sports Discord because at the end of the day, we are speaking about Mother Nature, and Mother Nature can just flip at any time, and it can change. We know that. We advocated for like a 35% full go on the Thursday PM and the DFS lineup builds, 15% during the contrary, what we consider contrary Thursday AM, and then the other 50% kind of a mix, but like heavily weighted in one direction. So, for example, going 35%, 5 guys Thursday PM and 1 guy from Thursday AM because somebody will spike from the other round and just play amazing in the bad conditions. So yeah, I think that's a good way to play it, but it's probably like just a matter of like how do you create those ratios in terms of your GPP builds, especially when you're building like 150 lineups. What rules do you kind of put in place for your lineup construction there? What is this science you speak of? Sia Najad, who, by the way, credit to Sia, had the very good idea of doing this live stream in the first place. So thank you, Sia, for pushing me in that direction. I don't usually do these one-on-one chats. I like having other people to talk to. My throat is freaking dry right now. I will stop for a drink break at one point because I'm having to talk a hell of a lot with just me on the show. But it was worth doing, and it was a good idea from Sia to come on and chat weather because I love a weather forecast because bookmakers are so slow to react to the weather. It is a massive edge. DFS players half the time don't even check the weather forecast, which for me is insanity for a sport that is played outdoors. Golf is played outdoors. Did you know that? In the weather. Shock horror. Favorite 6 to 7K plays in the afternoon. Let's see. Ches Reavie. Obviously a stud golfer that we all know and love. Ches Reavie, extremely accurate off the tee. Approach play has been really good. Like, look at this trending here and his approach by keeping his accuracy. Obviously, 10th recently at the ISCO Championship. ISCO's like, Keen Trades Golf Club generally favors longer drivers, so that's always noteworthy for me when a player who's like more of an accuracy-based golfer comes out and plays well at a golf course that actually favors longer drivers. So I found that interesting. 12th at the Bounce Bar is also like not the worst correlation that you could speak of. 4th and 8th at the Travelers. He's had 11th at RBC Heritage before. He's a winner at the Travelers back in 2019. So yeah, Ches Reavie. Ches Reavie, I think, is playable. Well, look at that. You go back to 2009, 10th and 9th at the Wyndham. So he's played well. He's gonna get for me the best of the conditions. So I think he's one to consider down there in the lowly 6K range. Alex Morley, as I mentioned. Thorpe Johnson, I think, is interesting, although he is priced a little bit higher. CT Pan, I think, is a great play. Like, let's look at what CT Pan does. CT Pan's always been one of those guys who just has like the absolute upside to kind of come and just spike at these tournaments. 18th recently at the Olympics. He won bronze at Tokyo. Heartbreaking for us because we had Paul Casey in that like 20-man playoff of like half the field was in the playoff for the bronze medal. But we had Paul Casey in there, so he just missed out on a bronze medal. But we did have Xander Schauffele to win. So, you know, you can't win them all. Second at the John Deere Classic recently, which is the correlated golf course, 24th there previously as well. He's a winner at the RBC Heritage, which is very correlated. And look, he was second at the Wyndham. The next year he won the RBC Heritage Harbourtown. Pete Dye designed the other golf course at Sedgefield Country Club, not the one they were playing. That was Donald Ross, but Pete Dye designed the other golf course. So there's a lot of correlation to other Pete Dye designs here. So CT Pan, I think, is another name that is also interesting. Please tell me Griot has a chance this weekend. I have so. Let's have a look at Griot. What has Griot been up to? Our favorite Argentinian. I loved Griot. Like, I covered the DP World Tour as well, by the way. So, like, if you want like exposure to the 2 best tours in the world of golf, controversial for the live bots out there, I know. But DP World Tour is actually where I started. I started working on tournaments when I was growing up in Dubai and spending time living there. Spent 8 years living in Dubai and fell in love with the DP World Tour. And Emiliano Grillo was like kind of like one of my guys on the DP World Tour until we moved over to the PGA Tour, because he was just nuts good on the DP World Tour because the standard is obviously just a bit lower. I do think Grillo's got a chance. Second at Harbour Town back in 2021, second at John Deere, seventh at the RBC Heritage last year. And bear in mind, that was a signature event, so it was a much stronger field than you would usually see. 15th at the Travelers Championship as well. 11th at TPC Sawgrass. TPC Sawgrass is like the most correlated golf course to Sedgefield, like probably of any like complementary pair of golf courses on the PGA Tour. Like TPC Sawgrass and Sedgefield are the like perfect pair made in heaven. There's a big golf course. There's a big horse race here in Oceania, Australia Melbourne Cup. And the form guide for the Melbourne Cup has always been the Caulfield Cup, which runs 3 weeks before. And TPC Sawgrass is like the Caulfield Cup to the Wyndham Championship because it tells you who is going to win. 1/3 of winners at Sedgefield have won the Players' Championship before. 1/3. And like there's been 16 iterations of this tournament. So that's a significant number. Again, if you jumped over to Windalley Sports, if you'd read my article, Course Comps, TPC Sawgrass, 1/3 of all with Davis Love, Webb Simpson, Henry Stenson, Siwoo Kim, Sergio Garcia have all won at both these golf courses. Brian Harmon won 2 junior events at Sedgefield in 2002 and 2003, and he finished runner-up behind Scotty Scheffler earlier this year at the Players' Championship, playing good golf. We also what he did at the Open Championship last year in wind and rain. So Brian Harmon, I think, is a very, very good chance to win. Here's my other Harbour Town guys. Carl Peterson and Webb Simpson were the ones who won both at Harbour Town. And then you got Davis Love and Kisner and Siwoo have all had run-up finish there. So there you go. Grillo, a chance. Look, here's the thing for me with Grillo. Like, Grillo, I need to see him gaining like 4 strokes per tournament in approach. Like, he just, like, his putter and around the green game is like so bad sometimes that like he just needs to out-hit it. I do like his driving accuracy element. I get that. And it's just going to come down to the short game. So is he like a single entry, safe kind of cash game play for me? No. Will I have him in large GPPs? Yeah, like I'm going to have some exposure. The issue is going to be the tee time, obviously. I don't know why I just closed that window because I'm going to need that in a second. But there you go. Sia, miss you on the first cut DFS show. I miss Sia too. Do you know what I miss? I miss the strokes gain narrative. Sia, can we bring back the strokes gain narrative? I don't know how we do it. I don't know what forum, but Sia, we need the strokes gain narrative in our life because Gigi and I, your wife, have a special bond when it comes to the strokes gain narrative. I write the lyrics, she writes the songs. They're fantastic. Go back and look at hashtag strokes gain narrative if you want some examples. You just can't stop artists in their flow like that, you know. And since you've been off the first cut pod, you know, we haven't had the strokes gain narrative, and it's very sad. So we've got to work in some way to get the strokes gain narrative back and running. $17,000, holy! I can't say that because otherwise we'll get demonetized. But yes, there's a lot of money, and there's using $10 per unit. You make $17,000 if you've been following our tips since 2022, and we're not one of these like websites. Like, we actually believe in transparency, believe it or not. If you are going to give us, put your faith in us and put your money in Windalley Sports, well, we publish our profit and loss tracker. So you know when we're losing money, you know when we're winning money and where we're winning money, because that's only fair. You're paying us. So why would you not expect to see transparency in results? So $17,000 is the current profit that you would have made since 2022 in the last 2 and a bit years. If you've been following our tips and using $10 per unit. We were also in the Windows Discord. We had a big debate about pineapple on pizza. Sia appreciates Jonathan, which is great. It's a great show about pineapple pizza. That's the PJ Draftcast, and controversial. Wouldn't Celsius and Fahrenheit both be derived via science? They would, but like Fahrenheit is like based on like the boiling point of oil in like a certain like condition. Like it's the dumbest thing. Celsius, water freezes 0, water boils 100. Simple. Everyone knows where it stands. Where can we find you these days? No golf content. I'm guessing that's directed at Sia, but you can find me on Twitter at DeepDiveGolf. You can find me on the PJ Draftcast, which is the show we do on Win Daily Sports every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern time. We live draft DFS lineups with experts. We have Joel at Draft Masters Flex and Spence at TF Sports from the Action Network and Rotoballer. We draft DFS lineups against each other. There's a lot of banter, but we also draft against you, the audience. Team audience have a team, which is great. And there is a lot of banter, a lot of fun. We talk through our DFS plays. So follow us there, windailysports.com, obviously. And then I'm also on radio here in New Zealand, SENZ, with Ian Smith, former Black Cap great, one of the greatest commentators in sports. So we talk every Wednesday at 10 a.m. New Zealand time, which is Tuesday 6 p.m. Eastern time for you guys in the past. CEO's not been on the foot. No, CEO Mac is the star. He's the Panama. Non-draftcast from time to time. Yeah, you do. Yeah, we do see CEO in the chat on the draftcast quite often. Love to have him on the show when we can. Obviously, he's a very, very busy man since he's over at CBS now. So, and on the early wedge, which is awesome. It looks like the rain tomorrow is going to be lighter than expected for Friday. How will soaked course play of the weekend? Will it slow up the ball? Yeah, generally, like Ed, like what you find when the course is wet is that it does become easier to hold the fairways, right? Because if it's really firm and fast, the ball can just like bounce and hit ridges and then jump into the rough. So you do see that. So it is going to be a little bit easier to hold the fairways off the back of it. But the flip side is like you absolutely want to be in the fairways this week. Like you do not want to be in the rough because it's going to be thick, juicy, muddy. You don't want to be in there. And then in the fairway, you're going to be able to pick up your ball, clean it, and give yourself a perfect light. So driving actually is still the thing. The rain is going to be lighter. I still don't see them cleaning up this golf course and giving all the standing water by 8:30. I think it's going to be around that like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. time frame. The winds are still high enough for me to think that there's going to be advantage for those Thursday PM guys. See, it puts the live plays out. This is true. Better get into the Win Daily Discord Fire Golf Picks. Yeah, we had Johnny Vegas recently, 80-1 won. Last week we had Hideki Matsuyama, first round leader, at 33-1, and then he got the bronze medal, so we got a place on him. Tom Kim, top 10 as well, cashed at big money. And the Rocket Mortgage recently, Cam Davis. We had Cam Davis to win. Can't remember, like 65-71, something good. And then we had Min Woo Lee in second. So we completed the Quinella for horse racing fans out there, first and second at the Rocket Mortgage. So yeah, we're doing great things and continuing to make money, which is great because Scotty Scheffler kind of was like ruining the beginning of the season for anyone who followed golf. But, you know, Scotty Scheffler won the Olympic gold medal, sure, at like 4-1. But give me Hideki Matsuyama at 35-1. And Tom Kim at 30-1 any day, because they have to win that tournament 1 in 7 times against Scottish Scheffler in those same circumstances for that to then be profitable. We make money on the place money as well. So yeah, it just makes no sense to back Scottish Scheffler, although he does annoy us constantly with the way he's playing because he is so freaking good. Would you take over or unders on round score props if you had to take a side? Probably depends when they're playing, Mark. I think that if you are going out Friday morning, so the Thursday AM tee times, it's going to be a bit windier for you, so I'll be more tempted by the overs. I'd also be tempted to target players who are inaccurate off the tee, like the Bombers. Like, Bombers have never done well at Sedgefield. Like, there's just no advantage to being long off the tee. Like, there's 8 par 4s that are between 400 to 450 yards. Both of the par 5s are reachable by the entire field because they're short. You just want to be in the fairway. Like, that's the key. You just want to be in the fairway. So I would consider targeting guys who are extremely long off the tee, but completely inaccurate with their driver, and then playing in that Friday AM tee time group. Betting the overs on them is probably a savvy way to approach that. I think I learned more here than I ever did in school. Me too, Japan. I'm still learning. So, I mean, that's, yeah. It's the way that we go, right? You keep learning and developing and gaining new skills, and I'm still learning, and that's great. It's how you push yourself forward and keep improving. Since it is like 2 in the afternoon on Friday where you are, that is correct. Can you tell us who is leading in round 1? So I put my first round leader plays out on the PGA Draftcast. We always give them out at the end of the show. Both Joel and I on the PGA Draftcast hit Hideki Matsuyama at 33-1 last week. We've had some other very, very close calls. We had a bunch of top fives, and who else did we hit? Was it Ludwig Aberg, first round leader? I can't remember. We had another first round leader in the last 3 to 4 weeks as well. My first round leader picks for the Wyndham were Tom Kim, Siwoo Kim, Brian Harmon, and CT Pan. Those were those 4. And shock horror, because I've been checking the weather this whole week, because that's what we should be doing, because they're playing golf outdoors. They were on the Thursday PM, because I knew that they weren't going to be playing golf, or they weren't going to get a complete round in on Thursday, whatever happened. So Thursday PM was the guys' target. I wouldn't be surprised if the books have reacted at this point to the weather, because once it gets like this extreme, the books actually start reacting to weather. We make weather a huge part of our process every week, because it does present a huge edge both in betting markets and in DFS as well. Got one for you, David, from the GOATs here in the shard. Cam Davis or Seabees? Cam in the AM, Seabees in the PM. I am quite fond of Christian Bezuidenhout here. I do like what Cam Davis has been doing, and he's been getting hypnotherapy. It's apparently changed his life, and he now believes he can win every golf tournament. So I do get the appeal on Cameron Davis. But here's Bezuidenhout. This is a little concerning for me, like the fact he's lost on approach the last couple. He's been better with his ball striking. Like you look at this period here where he was just like absolutely striping it. And I kept betting him because he was absolutely striping it, and he kept failing to actually come through with a win and found ways to lose golf tournaments, including the American Express, where he was second, which we had him within our tips, and he blew it against Nick Dunlap. So shout out Nick Dunlap, who didn't get the FedEx Cup points for that win because he was an amateur still. But yeah, this is a little bit concerning. The Open Championship I can kind of forgive because it was such a like weird tournament with the weather. Le Golf National did have some wind in play. It's kind of a tricky golf course, but honestly, I would have said it probably suits him pretty well. But then I kind of look at these comp courses and his record here, and especially the players. Like he's finished 13th at the players the last 2 years. Like Christian Bezuidenhout, who's not like the greatest player on the PGA Tour. He's like like a top 50 kind of player consistently on the PGA Tour, is getting 13th in the strongest field in all of golf the last 2 years. That's very, very appealing to me. Second TPC Dare run. Let's actually bring up Cameron Davis' profile here. Here we go. Starting hitting the ball better, which is good. He's always had huge upside. As I said, he's getting hypnotherapy, believes he can win every single golf tournament he plays in now, which is fun. Rocket Mortgage, we had him to win. I think it was 80-1. Maybe 70, but 81. Let's just say 81. Yeah, he won the tournament for us. And we kind of saw this run with Cam Davis where he got like nuts good at these short golf courses, because it's like the best thing that Cam Davis could do on any golf course is like take the driver out of his hand more often. Like, and he can still use it. Like, he can still use it on the par fives, and he will. But his ability to actually then club down and like find fairways is really, really key. So, yeah, I mean, we see that 3rd and 7th at the RBC Heritage, 7th here in 2023, 6th of the players last year, 22, 15th, 25. What, Sierra, I'm assuming you're still in the chat. What number have you got on this, like Cam Davis versus CBS? Because they'd probably be the determining factor for me. I'd say like marginally it's Bezuidenhout in the moment. If Bezuidenhout was like minus 115, minus 110 against Cam Davis, I'd probably bet that. If it's like Cam Davis is the favorite, I'd definitely be being Bezuidenhout. But yeah, that's probably where I'm at. But I'll be interested to know what the number is on that line. Because Bezuidenhout has got just as good a course history here as Cam Davis. If you look at his metrics, he's going to fit the golf tournament a lot better than Cam Davis as well. And he's going to get the better wind conditions, the weather conditions, I think. So that'll be key. How much emphasis would you put on driving XC than initially anticipated? How much would this influence your player's choice? I mean, look, Albert, not really, because I was already extremely high on driving accuracy anyway. But that, I guess my comment there was like driving accuracy is going to be even more important, is because there are people out there who would be like, yeah, like Sahith Theegala, I'm going to pay him at the at Harbour Town. And it's like, okay, well, that's great, but driving accuracy is like really, really key. And sure, he could like spike a monster week because he's a good golfer, but it's not going to be the most suitable course for him. So that was just like reiterating, I guess, for the general public who are going to not necessarily look at things like driving accuracy. They're just going to look at like who's played well here previously and what form are they in. Like, so that's where you see like all the biggest ownership spikes in DFS always come. It's like, have they like top 10'd a bunch of tournaments recently, and have they top 10 here recently? It's like, well, that's going to be like the chalkiest of chalk for the tournaments, and they're not necessarily going to consider things like driving accuracy. So yeah, look, I would be putting a real heavy emphasis on finding fairways, given the fact that it is going to be lift clean place for at least for the first 2 days, if not for the entirety of the tournament. That is going to be a big advantage for those who are regularly finding the fairway. I definitely would be honing in on the accurate drivers. I mean, you look at like the past winners here, like they are all just like simply the most accurate drivers on the PGA Tour. Like, it's just a list after list, like Lucas Glove, Tom Kim, Kevin Kisner, Jim Herman, JD Poston. JD Poston also won TPC Dare Run, by the way, completing that link between those two golf courses. Branson Endicott, Henry Stenson, very accurate golfer. Siwoo Kim, obviously, and he's won the Players Championship as well. Davis Love, Patrick Reed, Sergio Garcia. Not necessarily bombers. Webb Simpson, obviously. Webb Simpson loved this tournament so much that he named his daughter Wyndham, which is ridiculous. But there you go. So yeah, look, it really is just like a list of like the most accurate guys on the PGA Tour. So driving accuracy, like full on go driving accuracy, play Billy Horschel, play Siwoo Kim, play Brian Harman. Those accuracy guys do get a big uptick anyway. Ed says, I am the future. Yeah, we have this running joke in here that like my golf picks are so good, and that's because I live in the future, because I live in Wellington, New Zealand. So it's currently 2:15 in the afternoon here, 18 hours ahead of you guys in the United States who are watching over there. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I hope everyone is safe and well with storms and just in life in general. I hope you're good. But yeah, I am 18 hours in the future, and sometimes I come back to the past and tell you guys exactly what is going to happen in the golf tournament. Cam Davis is my favorite outright early in the week. Yeah, I saw his number. His number like dropped pretty quickly for me. So I did really consider him when he originally opened. One, because he won recently. I think he's really confident. He's also like an outside chance for the President's Cup team, and those kind of narratives can really spur a player on to greater success. So I know that is a goal of his, is to make the President's Cup team, and another good week here would really do well. I think unfortunately he's probably going to get the west side of the draw. It's not going to be as substantial weather wave as we originally thought. Like, I mean, this could have been a +2, +3 kind of weather advantage for the PM guys. Now I think it's probably going to be like 1 to 1.5, which is still significant. It's still worth playing. It's just not going to be as nuts as it was potentially if the PGA Tour decided to send these guys out in just like the most absolutely dreadful weather. Cam Davis putting at Sedgefield only. Guy crashes at the air. Cam Davis, CBS question is a DFS question. Yeah, okay, yeah. Look, I think they're both parable. So I think that you're completely within your rights to take a stance either way. Yeah, he's gained 4 strokes for the tournament in 2019, 1.3, 0.4. I mean, the course history like is good. What did DataGolf think his ownership is going to be? No, that's an interesting question. 15.5, and CBS is 18.5. So, and if I give these guys let's give these guys a weather bump for whoever gets the supreme conditions. Yeah, so I mean, if you give it like a 10-point bump to anybody who's got an afternoon tee time, DataGolf think that it's going to be about a 20-point difference between Davis and Poseidon. I think they're both playable. I do think they're both playable. I don't think they're dreadful plays whatsoever. They both feel good. And Rise ownership's getting nuts. Thank you for doing this, David. You are welcome, Ed. It's good to chat with you guys and just talk some weather. If you missed the start of the show, we've got a few hundred people in here now. If you missed the start of the show, I ran through everything that's happening in Greensboro, North Carolina. what the weather's been doing, what I think it will do from here, which waves are going to get the advantage. I do think it's kind of like this Thursday PM time is going to be who gets the best of it. So it does look like that that weather there is getting a little bit better in the morning, but you've still got these high winds. And, if they're going out like 10, 11 a.m., they're going to play all through here. Then the afternoon guys get to go out in this pocket until like sunset at like 7:38. And then they get to come out in beautiful sunny conditions in the morning on Saturday and play the rest of the round. So I do think it's an option. Zach, I salute you as well. Hey, I think that's it. I think that's it for me. I don't know if I've got any other burning things to talk about. Go Lydia Ko at the Olympics again. What a super woman. Great night for New Zealand in the Olympics. 2 gold medals. First gold medal on the cycling track in 20 years since Sarah Ulmer, Elise Andrews. Amazing performance there. And Lydia Ko with a great round over in Paris. So those are my questions. I'll panda for another couple of minutes. If anybody has any other questions, if you want to ask, what's this guy's chances of playing well, if you want to do a matchup, anything like that, I might give out a bet. Should we give out a bet live on air? Why not? I have one guy that I've been wanting to bet since this whole weather thing started, and that is Thor Bjornsson. And this tee time late here. Originally scheduled to go off at 2:11. What's his current tee time at? Let's have a look. I do think like those guys are still going to get the best of it. See, so like I'm in the future, so these are all like 10:50 p.m. at the moment. So let's put them into. This is what I do for you guys, though. I stay up late and wake up early watching golf, and it's even better when the DP World Tour is on because the tee times are just like all over the place. But my lack of sleep makes you and me money, and that's a good thing. Phil Bjornsson, okay, like still 2:11 p.m. to go out in round 1. So I think that's very interesting. As I mentioned, he had a 4th at TPC River Highlands, a very correlated golf course to the Wyndham. Just go through, look at the list of winners there. But I believe he is like 125 to 1. So he's come in a bit. He was 125 to 1 kind of everywhere. He's kind of come in a bit, which is interesting. Hey, the man, the GOAT himself, Pat Mayo, was up. The side info, I have arrived in Greensboro. It is wet. Yeah, thank you. Can someone tell the PGA Tour that? Can someone tell the PGA Tour that it is going to rain when there is a hurricane? Anybody? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why they didn't make this decision earlier. Just give all those golfers peace of mind. Tell them it's going to start on Friday. Like, that was always going to happen. So, there you go. Thor Bjornsson, I think I'm going to add to my card. It's probably going to be a pretty small play, but interested in those numbers. I'm interested in what he might be for top 20, top 40, because if he gets into that like kind of like micro tee time with these afternoon guys who then get to go and play on Saturday in even better conditions, then that may be the option. PGA probably use the GFS model. They don't pay the like $20 or whatever it is for windy.com to get the premium weather models. But they're probably using this right here, and they're going like, oh yeah, there's just light rain here, there's light winds, it'll be fine. Like all of this, like look at this, like 2 millimeters of rain. Guess what? There was more than 2 millimeters of rain today. I can tell you that. It was 4 to 6 inches. Oh, look, you start getting the premium models. Oh yeah, 9 millimeters, 11 millimeters. For you folk in America, that's in inches there. But yeah, there was a lot of rain, and that affected things in the PGA Tour. Sat on their hands and did nothing, and then kept delaying it, and then eventually got around to saying we can't play golf. Is it a pet peeve of yours, David? Have you filled out your pet peeve bracket? Is what a pet peeve? The PGA Tour not being proactive on reacting to weather, because that is a pet peeve of mine. Like if we know that the weather is going to be bad, like tell people ahead of time just so everyone can be prepared and the golfers don't have to go and sit in like a clubhouse or hotel room, like watching the weather updates and wondering whether they're going to have to go and warm up or not. Yes, that's pet peeve of mine. That always annoys me. But, you know, why can't we just like be a bit more proactive and like think ahead and plan with these things? So that's the baffling thing, especially with like these golfers have a lot on the line, you know? They're playing for their careers, and that's what makes these tournaments like the Wyndham so compelling. Is it's like, you know, guys like Justin Thomas down the stretch who nearly holes out on the 18th hole. You know, guys who are making charges to try and make it into the FedEx Cup playoffs. That's what makes this tournament great. So like let's respect that. Let's respect what these golfers are doing, and they're playing for their entire like earnings, perhaps for the rest of time, and it can be very, very hard to get back onto the PGA Tour. And you know, give them a heads up and treat them with respect that they deserve. So what's my bet for Thorby? So I'll probably be doing a ladder stack with like I'll chuck it in the Win Daily Sports Discord. Again, the link is in the description. 50% off. It's $7.50 per week. Don't be a poor. There's less than a Big Mac meal. And if you've been following since 2022, you've made $17,000 off our betting tips alone, let alone what you make in DFS. So anyway, link in the description. I'll chuck it in the Win Daily Discord, but it's going to be a stack of like 0.5 a unit each way with 8 places at 110 to 1, and then probably 1 unit top 20 and two units top 40, whatever those numbers are. And I'll shop around and get the best odds for you on Thor Bjornsson there. The other one that's really interesting is Power. What's Power's number? Not Paddy Power, Seamus Power. Seamus Power in 90s. That's kind of interesting too. Yeah. What I was trying to do before, I was trying to like look through different matchups, because sometimes bookmakers screw up. And they put like a guy who's teeing off in the morning in like a round matchup against a guy who's teeing off in the afternoon. So whenever the weather's bad, like that is the first thing I go and look at, is like, what have bookmakers done here? And like they put like some stud in the morning against some stud in the afternoon because they're two big names, but one of them has just got like deep pristine conditions. The other one's playing in a freaking tornado. And that can always be really advantageous. I couldn't find any this time. Apparently there's a couple on DraftKings, so hopefully you guys got on those in the Win Daily Sports Discord that we found. But yeah, look, it does look like those afternoon guys might get the best of it. And I think Seamus Power is like one of the later guys who goes out, right? Right, here. 127, yeah. And there won't be 127. There will be like 3:30, 4:30, then gets come back in like soft conditions Saturday morning with no wind, and it's sunny and warm. Seamus Power's interesting. Like I could see him playing well. I might consider that as well. But as always, you need to be in the Win Daily Sports Discord to get all of our bets, tips, tricks, coaching, one-on-one chats, lineup advice, any questions you have really. We are at your service for $7.50 a week, and that gives you access to all sports, not just golf. There's American football. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. There's something called the NFL in America, and it's quite a big deal. So we've got a ton of experts on the NFL. Go the Denver Broncos, even though they suck, they are still my team. There's an interesting story while I panda for a few minutes, because we've got about 5 minutes left to make this in our podcast, so may as well. The reason why the Denver Broncos became my team here in New Zealand, very, very strange choice, you may say, is I went on a trip with my dad when I was like 8 years old to Sydney, Australia. It's kind of like a year or two after the Sydney Olympics, so like 2001, I want to say, maybe end of 2000. And the NFL had taken an exhibition game, preseason game, over to Sydney. It was the first time they played outside of America, an exhibition game. It was the Denver Broncos versus the San Diego Chargers. This was back like John Elway days, so they just won a couple Super Bowls, so they were a big deal back then. And the game went to overtime. Denver Broncos won it in overtime, so I was like, 8 years old me, Denver Broncos are my team. Then I've endured pain and suffering for 20 years until Peyton Manning came along, won us the Super Bowl, finally in one of the most boring Super Bowls of all time, I'll say. It was extremely defensive and no scoring, but they won it, which is great. And now they're rubbish again. So there you go. Am I an Elway fan? I don't really know much about him because I was 8 years old when he was like a big, big deal. But yeah, like, I mean, I think the guy's a legend, and I just hope we can get a decent quarterback. I think that's our big thing. But yeah, I don't pretend to know everything about American football, but I do know a bit about golf. I'll give you that. I know about golf, Most importantly, I know how to read data. I think that's the key, is like not just like getting good data, but like knowing how to interpret it. And like that's one of the things we do at Win Daily Sports. It's not just about like giving you plays and being like, beat these players. Like that's part of it. If you want to make money, follow our tips. We make money consistently for a long time. Profit loss trackers in the chat as well. You can see all of our results because we're transparent. Because if you're going to give us your money, you should know where it's going and be some integrity about it. Yeah, like jump in the description, see my profit loss tracker. You'll find all the information that you need in there. But yeah, looking at golf is like training you not just on the golf betting side, but also like how to interpret the data, what stats to look at when, things like approach distributions, things like course fits, weather waves, weather advantages, everything that you really need. And then how to look at their data and see training guys who are, on paper, they might have like missed 2 cuts and had 2 45th and 50th place finishes in the last 4 tournaments, but their metrics have changed and suddenly they're gaining on approach, suddenly they're gaining on driving accuracy, and identifying those kind of situations, and doing coaching sessions with you as well. So all of that kind of like extra stuff where it's like not just chucking a bunch of names, but actually providing you a service, which I think is what you guys deserve as customers. So am I a Wellington Phoenix fan? Yes, massively. It was heartbreaking last year when we did not win the playoffs for the first time, but it was a very, very good season. Fortunately, we've lost a few of the like good players. I don't know how many good players there are in the Phoenix. I mean, they're all better football players than I am, but we're not talking about like Manchester United here, right? So yeah, like definitely a Phoenix fan. Been to a few games. We love the wind, the rain, and the Phoenix in Wellington is our chant. So there we go. My daughter is a huge football fan as well. She plays goalie. She is the weirdest kid because she likes people kicking soccer balls at her and trying to save them, which is amazing that she's interested in that because I think she's going to be quite tall. So that's my plan, is to get all parental on her and train her into a football superstar and then retire. That's my retirement plan if the golf doesn't work out. But I think that's a wrap. I think it's a wrap, unless there's like one final question for anyone. We're like 58 minutes. I've talked for an hour. I still haven't had my drink of water that I promised myself that I would have. So I'm going to go and drink a liter of water like this because I am parched. I'm parched out here. No more questions, it doesn't look like. But anyway, that's my take on the weather. Looking forward to seeing some golf out there. Go Lydia Ko at the Olympics. She's playing awesome. Go Rose Jane as well. She's within our tips. Yamashita as well, playing very, very well within our sections. We put 4 golf tips out for the women's game as well. So yeah, I think the Olympics have been awesome. It's been great viewing. Hopefully we get the Wyndham Championship in at some point. Jump into the description, hit the subscribe button, give us a like. It all helps, because without that, we can't be here making good golf content for you. So help support us. We'll rub your back as well. We'll make you money with our DFS picks and our betting plans. The promo at the moment is absolutely awesome. 50% off when you use code DeepDiveGolf at Win Daily Sports. Use the link down below to sign up for that. But other than that, there's only one thing left to say. And Ed said it best. Sports.